Well, hey everyone. My name is Jonathan, and this is Mr. Pearson Talks Books. I'm an elementary school teacher who likes to read books, and I like to talk about them. So that's what we do here on this channel. Because it's soon gonna be Thanksgiving, I thought that I would share some of the books that I am thankful for because they are books that gave me a lifelong love of reading. And these are books that I read as a child. I read these books multiple times. I have my notebook here that I wrote down these titles, so I thought I would share them with you. These are in no particular order, and there is no like, this is my first favorite, my second favorite, anything like that. These are just books that I remember reading and loving as a kid, and I wanted to share with you. The first one I wrote down was Ramona the Pest by Beverly Cleary. And if you're familiar with this book, you know it's about a girl named Ramona who is growing up in a house with an older sister who never does anything wrong. And she is trying to navigate life through kindergarten. And as the series progresses, first grade, second grade, so on. And there's different things that happen to her that she has to figure out, and she's trying to navigate through a world where life isn't always fair, as she comes to find out. And I really liked this series. I read Ramona the Pest, Ramona the Brave, Ramona Quimby age 8, Ramona and her mother, Ramona and her father. I could keep going. There's so many in the series, and I've shared those books with my students and with my own children. Um, on multiple car rides, we've listened to them. This was a great series that I really enjoyed reading growing up. Next, this one I read when I was a little bit older, and that was The Chronicles of Narnia, specifically The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And I'm actually reading The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe to my own students at school right now. Um, and so, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, The Chronicles of Narnia, is by C.S. Lewis, and it begins with four children. Um, Peter and Lucy and Edmund and Susan, and they find themselves going through a wardrobe into the magical land of Narnia, and they have to figure out, with the help of the other animals and of course Aslan, the lion, how to defeat the the White Witch who makes it always winter but never Christmas. And I just love these stories. I read them over and over and over. And in fact, the other day I was looking on my bookshelf at school, and I found my own personal copy of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe from when I was in the third grade, sitting on my shelf there. So hopefully one of my students will pick it up. It is a bit of an ancient relic at this point. The whole series is great. I've read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe more than I've read the other ones, but I definitely remember enjoying all of them. Then a book that I included on here, and I don't even remember why it's on here. Oh, I do. So the book is Superfudge, about Peter and his little brother named Fudge. It is the sequel to the book Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing. And I remember reading this book when I was in the third grade, and my teacher told my parents that I shouldn't be allowed to read this book. So, of course, I read the book all the time. It's about a boy named Peter who is trying to navigate life similarly to what Ramona was doing, but he has a brother who they call Fudge. I think his real name is Drexel. And Fudge has a habit, a tendency to get into a lot of trouble. And so Peter's trying to figure out what in the world to do when his brother is causing all of these problems, particularly when he wants to just have a normal life. It is a fun book. There was a lot of silliness in there. When I was also in the third grade, my dad introduced me to the Hardy Boys books by Franklin W. Dixon. And these are mysteries about Frank and Joe and all of their friends. And, Frank and Joe's dad is a detective, so of course they start to solve mysteries. And I don't even know how many different titles there are, but I remember reading The House on the Cliff, and then I read The Missing Chums. And from there, every time my dad would take me to the library, it was to check out another copy of the Hardy Boys. We would get them from our public library. I don't think I read them all, and a few years ago I tried to go back and reread, and got to about book 6 or 7, but really thankful for the Hardy Boys. I know Franklin W. Dixon is not an actual real person, and if you read the books, you can kind of tell that the quality and the content kind of fluctuates up and down based on who's writing them. But they were a lot of fun. There was even a time where I wanted to be a mystery writer because of reading the Hardy Boys. Then 2 more that I have on my list here. The first one is Farmer Boy by Laura Ingalls Wilder. Now, this is a part of her series, the Little House series. And this is the one that she wrote about her husband, Almanzo, when he was growing up on a farm in New York. And of all the books that I've read, this one I've probably read 10, 12, maybe even 15 times. I've read it to my class. It's not the most exciting book, but there are a lot of fun parts in it. And it's just about Almanzo growing up on the farm in New York and raising horses. And he wants so badly to have a horse of his own, but he's still so young. And you learn about how they make, how they do the butchering and how they prepare all of the food that they grow on the farm. Just a great, wonderful story. And then finally, the last one, this is kind of a niche story. Not many people know it. And that's the book called Little Pilgrim's Progress by Helen Taylor. And Little Pilgrim's Progress is a retelling of John Bunyan's classic book, Pilgrim's Progress, but all of the characters are children. Now, Christian, he still has his burden on his back, and he still has to go to the wicket gate, and he still meets Evangelist, and he goes to all of the different locations. He goes to Vanity Fair with Faithful, but it is just a wonderful retelling. It's what gave me my love for Pilgrim's Progress as an adult. And the great thing is we have a copy of it, and I read it to my kids, and my daughter decided that that book was now hers, and she has it in her room, and I will go in from time to time and see her reading it. And so I certainly hope that it becomes just as much a part of her life as it was mine. So that was Little Pilgrim's Progress by Helen Taylor. So those are some books that I am thankful for. This list could go on forever, but these were books that I am thankful turned me into the reader that I am today, because they gave me a lifelong love of reading. Try saying that many, many times. What I want to know is, what was a book that turned you into a reader? What is a book that you are thankful for? Leave the title down in the comments. As always, my name is Jonathan, and thanks for being here. We'll see you in the next video.